Hello everyone. Welcome all of you in the class of physical and inorganic chemistry. To start with an early topic, that is molecular spectroscopy. Some part of concerning topic has already been discussed in your earlier classes. You might be remembering a atomic structure where we have already studied a very famous theory of Planck's, that is Planck's quantum theory. And of course the theory is related to light. Magnetic radiation possesses certain properties. They have certain characteristics, and already we have discussed these characteristics like frequency. Light or electromagnetic radiation is just like as a standing wave, which we have studied in our classical mechanics. So it has certain characteristics like a frequency, then wavelength, or it also has a amplitude. And when light propagates from its source towards any direction, or it is always in a straight line, and it propagates like as a wave. But when the theory of uh, Planck's was proposed, Planck's theory states that the light or electromagnetic radiations are propagated not continuously, but it is propagated discontinuously. Okay, and every discontinued part of the light is called as quantum, and this is how the theory is also known as Planck's quantum theory. Being it is concerned with the light, it is also known as photon. And this discrete part of that wave or discontinued part of that wave, what the theory says that the discontinued part or quantum or quanta of the theory is associated with a fixed amount of energy, and this energy is directly related to the frequency of that particular electromagnetic radiation. And therefore a equation has been proposed by Planck's, and what is the equation? The equation is E is equal to h nu. So where nu is a frequency of the light, and the energy of that particular quantum will be related to frequency. Indirectly it will be related to wavelength. Okay, and when this quantum of the light or the a stream of this particle propagates from the source of this quantum or quantas is always quantized. So the value of energy will be in the integral multiple of h nu values. H nu values. By this theory, it is cleared that the theory considers this light or electromagnetic radiation not only as a wave, but it is the wave of particles. That means it has got two kinds of nature, particle nature as well as wave nature. And now the question comes, when we will allow this electromagnetic radiation to be imposed or to be interacted with certain materials. Certain materials are a matter. What is matter? No matter. What is matter? Matter is anything. Matter is anything in the universe which has certain mass. Okay. So if you take any matter out of this universe and interact the light with that matter, interaction between this light and matter, and it may be possible that we get certain information out of it. And therefore the important part in the spectroscopy or the major application of the spectroscopy is elucidation of the structures, or to get the structural knowledge by interacting the light with that of your materials. And therefore the molecular spectroscopy is the study of interaction of electromagnetic radiations or light with the matters or molecules. You got the point? What is molecular spectroscopy? Molecular spectroscopy is the study of interaction of light, that is electromagnetic radiation, with the matter. And of course, with this study we get certain information. And what information we get? The structural idea about that material can be collected. So just say, when the light or electromagnetic radiation interacts with the substances, there will be certain communication, there will be certain interaction, and the part of light which is emerged from the substances will be something different from the part of light which was already incident on that particular substance or matter. Now what actually can change, or what different things can change there? So the first thing expected here is that when you incident light on the materials, the part of light may be absorbed, the part of light may be reflected, the part of light may be refracted, some part, after all processes, will be transmitted. And if we could make certain arrangements so that we can measure the remaining part of the light, then definitely it will be very useful and informative. And this kind of arrangement has been made in the devices, and those devices which measures these uh, intensities of the light and gives us certain outputs, okay, in certain forms. They are known as spectrometers or spectrophotometers. So these devices, that is the spectrophotometer, or they have been adjusted such that the light can be interacted with the materials, light can be interacted with the matters, and the light which is emerged after interaction will be analyzed, okay, and that will be analyzed with certain sort of uh, detectors, okay, and then the information will be given to the output or source. And when we get that output, it will be something like a photograph, okay. Just we click a photo and we get the photographs. What actually happens? So when I click the photo, we collect the image in terms of light, okay, it is processed and we get the photograph. Similarly here, when the light is interacted with the materials, uh, the light will take certain information with it, and which is processed. After processing, we get it in terms of certain outputs, and that outputs which we get after interaction of this light with material are known as spectras. They are known as spectras, and therefore the spectra is output of a process. What process? Output of a process of interaction of light with the materials. And the way in which we get the spectra can be different, and the spectra which we get, it is in terms of certain signals. So whenever there is a absorption of light, we get a signal there, and the signals which we are getting at a particular frequency should be clear signal. And this time in the spectra we get the signals in terms of lines, okay, in terms of lines, and or we can get the structural idea about that material. So in the simple way, what we can say, molecular spectroscopy is a branch in the physical chemistry which studies the interaction of light with the matter, okay. When light is allowed to interact with the materials, certain part of light will be either absorbed, will be either reflected, refracted or transmitted. So the remaining part of the light, when analyzed, it gives us a certain information regarding the structure of that material. That information is collected in the form of outputs, and that outputs which we get in the analysis of the materials is known as spectra. And here we get the spectra in terms of lines. We get the signals in terms of lines. Okay. And then we decide the structure. So as already we have discussed what the spectroscopy is. Spectroscopy or molecular spectroscopy may be defined as the study of interactions of electromagnetic waves and the matter. Now the two things are there, important two things. The first of all is electromagnetic waves or electromagnetic radiations. So already we have discussed this with respect to Planck's quantum theory. And matter. Matter is any part of the universe which has certain masses, and definitely there will be molecules and atoms. So at molecular level, at atomic level, when we will interact these electromagnetic radiations, we will get certain output, and that output which we'll get will be in the form of spectra. Okay. So the very, very important part in the spectroscopy is a spectra, and which further has to be analyzed in order to elucidate the structure of concerned material. Okay. And therefore, we'll now come to the particular part, that is a spectral part. So the spectra, as already I said, it's an output of the interaction between the light and the material. In the form of spectra, it is a signals. Okay, it is a signals, and we get the signal here in terms of lines. Okay, so the expected signals are sharp line signals. Okay, but actually practically when we get the spectra, there are certain problems, there are certain limitations that we become unable to get the sharp lines. Okay, instead the pattern is found to be blurred. Okay, it is found to be something different. And what something different it is? The lines are broadened. Lines are broadened. And in some cases, the lines are so faint that we cannot judge their position, we cannot get the signals. So the major part or the important part with respect to the spectra comes, and that is width and intensity of the spectral lines. Width and intensity of the spectral line, that will be the first point out of this topic here, that is width and intensity of the spectral lines. Now the spectral absorptions are not infinitely sharp lines, but are more or less observed as broad peaks. Because a mechanical slit are not infinitely narrow. Okay, slit allows a group of frequencies instead of single frequencies, and as a result of that, blurring of the pattern appears. The minimum width inherent with any atomic or molecular transition are known as natural widths. Now this natural width is affected by certain factors. So factors affecting natural width. So these are the some factors which will affect the natural width of spectral lines. The early one of which is collision broadening. Atoms and molecules in the gaseous and liquid state are in the continuous motion and collides frequently with each other. This collision results into perturbation, that is changing in the outer electrons of the atom, and hence these electrons get their energy changed. And the change in the energy of the electron results into broadening of the spectral lines. The gaseous atomic and molecular spectrals are more sharper than that of the liquid samples, because the collision rate in the gases are less as compared to that of the liquids. So when you compare the gases and liquids, we get the more sharper spectra in case of the gases, because the molecules in the gases are apart from each other. Now in case of solid samples, being there is no collision, it is expected that the spectra should be very sharp, or we get the sharp lines. But this do not happen, and the spectra is broadened in case of solids also, and the reason for this is a splitting of the lines. What is the reason? Splitting of the lines. Now another factor which affect the width of the spectral line is a Doppler broadening. This type of broadening is observed due to the relative velocity of the molecules with respect to the observing machine. Observing machine, here it is detector. This broadening is prominent in case of the gaseous samples, as according to kinetic theory, molecule moves in the different direction, and their detection will be before or after other molecules, which results into increased or decreased frequency than the actual one, and hence it results into broadening of the spectral lines. The another factor which is responsible for collision, responsible for width of the line is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Now there is uncertainty of molecules to be in the ground state or to be in the excited state. Molecule remains in any energy level for very small time, that is dt, a very small time, and the value of which is nearly 10 to the power minus 34 joule second, and hence the lowest energy state cannot be sharply determined when we consider the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, or Heisenberg uncertainty principle state that the lowest energy state cannot be sharply determined in case of with respect to the time. Okay, with respect to the time. So this is how there are certain factors which will affect the spectral width, okay, or width of the line, and one has to be very much cautious to control it, okay, to control it. Now another part of a spectra with respect to its signals in terms of line is concerned, and that is intensity of the spectral lines. Now the effectiveness or appearance of spectral lines, more promptly it is intensity, and the intensity of the line increased if more number of frequencies are allowed from the slit. This intensity of the spectral line is governed by three factors. And what are the three factors? These are the three factors, that is transition probability, population of the state, and path length. So the first one, the transition probability. Here the transition of the molecule from one energy to other can either be allowed or it can be forbidden. The intensity of lines will be more for allowed transition, while it will be nothing or very less for the forbidden transition. Now the condition of allowed and forbidden transition is determined by the selection rules, and thus the selection rule gives idea about which transition is possibly forbidden or allowed. That means which transition will give the spectral lines will be decided by the selection rule, and depending upon that the spectra will have the lines of various intensities. So in order to interpret the spectra correctly, the intensity of the lines should be appropriate. Another factor which will affect the intensity of spectral lines will be population of the states. For the two states having equal possibility of transition, transition having more number of molecules in the ground state will be more intense. If n molecules are allowed to occupy the energy levels, more molecule will occupy the energy lower. And the ratio of number of molecules in the upper state to that of your lower state will be a certain exponential quantity with respect to change in the energy and the temperature, where change in the energy is difference between the two energy levels, that is upper energy level and lower energy level. The third factor which affects the intensity of spectral line is path length or concentration of the sample. So increase in the concentration of a sample will obviously increase the absorption, and which again depends upon the intensity. So doubling the concentration may be expected to double the intensity, but that is not the case. Certain less will be appeared in case of intensity, and which is well explained, which is well governed with the help of a law that is known as Lambert-Beer's law. So Lambert-Beer's law is related to absorption of the light intensity, and it states that the absorption of the light intensity is directly proportional to concentration of the sample, and it is also directly proportional to the path length of the sample. Okay, so remember, the spectra which we get will have signals in terms of lines. These lines may have a blurred pattern, and this blurred pattern may be due to certain reasons. That is, either the line will be wider or it will have more width. That means instead of a sharper lines, we'll get the peaks, and the intensity of light may be less. So in order to avoid this, or in order to get the precise spectra, all these factors should be taken into the consideration. I think for this much is sufficient. Thank you very much. Next time we'll come with another point of the same topic.